From oceans that look like they're falling, to places that defy logic, these are real locations on Earth that shouldn't exist. Number 7. Underwater waterfall illusion in the Indian Ocean. Just off the coast of Mauritius, near the Lemorne-Braven Peninsula, the ocean appears to perform an impossible trick. Water seems to pour downwards into an enormous abyss beneath the waves. From the air, it looks exactly like a waterfall that's cascading into the sea. This is a surreal optical illusion that's made it one of the most photographed coastal features in the world. Now, this phenomenon, often called the underwater waterfall, is not a waterfall at all, but a clever deception of perspective and physics. The illusion is created by the movement of sand and silt along the ocean floor. Here, the shallow coastal shelf of Mauritius abruptly ends and it drops into the Mascarene Plateau, which is an escarpment that plunges thousands of meters into the abyssal plain. As the ocean currents flow around the island's southwestern tip, they sweep the lighter colored sand off the shelf and down the slope. From above, particularly in aerial photographs or drone footage, this movement creates a dramatic gradient of color. Turquoise shallows blend into the deep blue water, while the streaks of suspended sand give the appearance of a downward cascade, as if the sea itself were pouring into a hidden chasm. The illusion is really visible between May and October when the prevailing southeast trade winds drive the lagoon currents. Satellite imagery confirms that the falling streaks change shape over time as the sand is redistributed. While there is no true waterfall beneath the waves, the Mauritius illusion beautifully demonstrates how light, depth, and sediment can all combine to create misperceptions. Pilots and photographers who have flown over the site describe it as one of the most breathtaking coastal views anywhere on the planet. It's an optical masterpiece that's shaped by ocean dynamics and geology. It's a reminder that even the most stunning natural wonders often owe their magic to our perspective, to how we see, rather than to what truly is. Number 6. Pamukkale. In southwestern Turkey, the hillside of Pamukkale, meaning cotton castle in Turkish, seems like it's draped in white silk from a distance. Up close, it's a landscape of gleaming terraces that are sculpted by the steady flow of mineral-rich hot springs, and it's been doing this for thousands of years. The effect is surreal and entirely natural, a living sculpture made of stone, water, and time. The phenomenon happens because the area is sitting on top of a geothermal fault line. Hot groundwater, saturated with calcium carbonate, emerges from the underground springs. As the water flows down the slopes and cools, it releases carbon dioxide, causing the dissolved calcium carbonate to crystallize into travertine, which is a smooth white rock that forms on the terraces. Over centuries, new layers of travertine have built up like a frozen waterfall, creating the cascading pools seen today. Pamukkale's terraces are continually changing as the water will shift direction and new formations appear. The site's been famous since antiquity. The ancient city of Hierapolis was built atop it by the Romans, who believed the waters had healing powers, and it's the same geothermal system that still feeds the pools where visitors wade today. Though tourism once damaged parts of the formation, careful restoration and regulation have helped preserve the delicate balance. Walking along the terraces, though, feels like you're standing inside of a cloud, an improbable landscape born entirely from minerals in motion. Number 5. Lake Baikal's ice rings. Each winter, Lake Baikal, the world's deepest and oldest freshwater lake, freezes into a sheet of ice more than a meter thick. Yet even in this frozen stillness, something mysterious happens. An enormous dark ring, sometimes up to 7 kilometers, that's 4 miles across, appear on the lake's surface, visible only from aircraft or satellite. These perfectly circular features seem artificial, but they're natural, a rare thermal phenomenon that still isn't fully understood. Scientists studying the ring since 2009 have found that they form above warm, methane-rich water rising from the depth of the lake. As the slightly warmer water upwells, it melts thin circular zones in the ice, creating these translucid rings bordered by thicker, whiter ice. The temperature difference is small, it's only a few degrees, yet it's enough to change the transparency and texture of the ice dramatically. The rings tend to form in the same general regions of the lake, particularly above underwater ridges and faults where the gas seeps are known to happen, and to anyone viewing from above, it's immense and mesmerizing, these ghostly halos that are floating on the world's deepest lake. They're not crop circles, nor they're signs of disturbance, just evidence of how the coldest water on Earth is alive with movement that's below the ice. Number 4. The Devil's Tower. Rising from the plains of northeastern Wyoming, Devil's Tower looks like a colossal tree stump that's carved in stone, a solitary column of vertical rock that dominates the landscape. It stands 1,267 feet above the surrounding ground, and it's one of the most recognizable geological formations in North America. For centuries, it's inspired stories, legends, and scientific curiosity. Now, geologically speaking, the Devil's Tower is a laccolith. That's a mass of molten magma that forced its way upwards through softer sedimentary rock, but never erupted to the surface. As the magma cooled slowly underground around 50 million years ago, it contracted and cracked into long hexagonal columns, the same type of structure that was seen at the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. Over time, the surrounding softer rock eroded away, which left behind the tower's vertical cliffs. The columns are extraordinarily regular. They stand straight for hundreds of feet, giving the tower that distinctive ribbed appearance. And the uniformity is so striking that early observers doubted it could be natural. Native American tribes, including the Lakota and Cheyenne, have long considered it sacred. Many legends describe a great bear clawing at the rock, creating these vertical grooves as it chased people who had sought refuge. But for modern scientists, the tower is a record of Earth's internal forces that are frozen in place. And for climbers, it's a world-class challenge, the site of the first documented rock climb in U.S. history, completed in 1893 using a wooden ladder that's still visible. Devil's Tower is both scientifically understood and visually miraculous. It is a monument to volcanic pressure and erosion, sculpted into something so improbable that it still seems mythical. Number 3. The Crooked Forest. In northwestern Poland stands a grove of about 400 pine trees that all share one peculiar feature. Each trunk bends sharply at its base, curving horizontally for a meter or two before sweeping upwards again. Known as the Crooked Forest, this small patch of woodland looks as though gravity briefly failed. The trees planted in the 1930s grow in otherwise straight rows and appear healthy, yet every trunk is bent in the same direction, towards the north, and each curve begins at the same height above the ground. The cause of this strange uniformity has never been conclusively proven, though several well-supported theories exist. The most likely explanation is human intervention. Forestry experts believe the trees were deliberately manipulated when they were young to produce curved timber for use in shipbuilding, furniture, or yoke construction. Once World War II began, the project was abandoned, leaving behind these distorted trees to mature naturally. Other hypotheses include heavy snowfall damage maybe, or genetic mutation. They've been largely ruled out though. Tree ring studies show consistent growth and no trauma, typical of a natural bending. Whatever the exact cause though, the result is an uncanny natural sculpture. Row after row of identical pines bending gracefully before reaching the sky. Number 2. Salar de Uyuni's Mirror Effect. The world's largest salt flat, the Salar de Uyuni. During Bolivia's rainy season, it undergoes one of the most surreal transformations. When just a few centimeters of rainwater accumulate on its flat reflective surface, the entire 4,000 square mile expanse turns into a perfect mirror, reflecting the sky so precisely, it becomes impossible to tell where the land ends and the air begins. This dazzling illusion is entirely natural. The salt crust formed by the evaporation of these prehistoric lakes is almost perfectly level. The elevation varies less than a meter across the entire basin, and when covered with shallow water, it acts like an enormous reflective surface. The mirror effect is so precise that NASA uses it to calibrate their Earth-observing satellites. The reflection of the sky can distort the depth perception, making people and vehicles appear to float. It's a place where the boundary between solid and liquid seems to dissolve entirely, where the ground reflects the clouds, stars, and even the Milky Way with amazing clarity. Outside the rainy season, though, it reverts to its more familiar cracked white expanse, and it's mined for salt and lithium-rich brines. But for a few months each year, it becomes something special, a landscape that turns physics into art, showing how simplicity and symmetry just combine to produce one of the Earth's most amazing optical illusions. Number 1. The Bermuda Triangle. Few places on the planet have captured our imagination quite like the Bermuda Triangle, a huge stretch of the Atlantic Ocean bounded roughly by Miami, Florida, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda. Within this triangular region, dozens of ships and aircraft have reportedly vanished under mysterious circumstances over the past century. But beyond the myths of alien abductions and underwater energy vortices, the Bermuda Triangle is a real geographic area with measurable natural characteristics that make it genuinely unusual. The legends began in the mid-20th century. In 1950, journalist Edward Van Winkle Jones wrote a short article describing several unexplained disappearances of ships and planes in the region. 2 years later, author George Sand popularized the term Bermuda Triangle, and by the 1960s, books and magazines had turned it into a global mystery. The disappearance of Flight 19 in 1945, a group of 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers vanished during a training flight, became the Triangle's defining event. Their radio transmissions suggested confusion about location, compass failure, and rapidly deteriorating weather before contact was lost. In the decades since, oceanographers and aviation experts have carefully examined the region's physical characteristics and have revealed a series of natural explanations that together account for nearly every recorded incident. One key factor is magnetic variation. The Bermuda Triangle is one of the few places on Earth where true north, the geographic North Pole, and magnetic north, the magnetic pole, line up perfectly. Navigators accustomed to adjusting their compasses for magnetic direction could find their readings off by several degrees if they're unaware of this anomaly, potentially leading to significant navigation errors, especially before the advent of GPS. Another factor is the region's volatile weather. The Triangle sits within one of the world's most active zones for sudden storms and squalls. Warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico meets cooler Atlantic air masses, producing rapid shifts in visibility and wind speed. The Gulf Stream, which is a strong ocean current moving northward, also plays a major role. It can reach speeds of over 4 knots and quickly disperse debris, making wreckage hard to find. Combined with the ocean's depth, the nearby Puerto Rico Trench goes down more than 26,000 feet. This explains why many vessels lost here are never recovered. But beyond the natural forces, human factors explain much of the legend. Many accidents attributed to the Triangle happen in one of the world's busiest shipping and flight corridors, where statistical probability alone predicts frequent incidents. Pilot error, mechanical failure, poor weather, they've all been confirmed as causes in numerous cases, once thought mysteries. Still, the area remains scientifically fascinating. Studies by the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the U.S. Coast Guard have found that the number of disappearances in this triangle is not significantly higher than in any other heavily traveled ocean region. Yet the myth persists because the area's combination of magnetic quirks, deep trenches, unpredictable weather, and tragic accidents creates some good ground for mystery. Even stripped of the supernatural, the Bermuda Triangle is extraordinary in a scientific sense. It's a microcosm of the ocean where currents, magnetism, and storms all seem to converge in one dynamic space. This is a region where the natural world appears for a moment to bend the rules, and where the line between fact and fascination still drifts like a ship in the fog.